All right. Welcome back to the podcast. So, as you guys know, it has been a minute. We've kind of had a little bit of a hiatus here. We have been down getting our second location up and off the ground in Ocean Springs. Obviously, our original one is in Hernando. The new one we just opened on December 9th is in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. The last month or so, it's been about 6 weeks now, but I guess about the last 6 weeks, just kind of trying to get it off the ground. So it's been a minute, been a little bit busy, so we hadn't been able to get on here and record one. So today is going to be a little bit different. It's also going to be a little bit shorter. I want to kind of start to hit some shorter, quicker episodes here. We might still mix in some long episodes as well. And when I say long, it's usually between like 20 to 30 minutes. We'll still be doing some interviews with some professional athletes, some coaches, some of our staff from time to time as well. But I'm going to kind of mix it in with some of these shorter, quicker ones as well. Had a lot of questions recently. So today is January 30th. So obviously a lot of the athletes here in Mississippi are getting ready for spring season. If we're specifically talking about baseball, softball, a lot of our spring sport athletes, those athletes have been rocking and rolling. October, November, December was really like their off season where we've been kind of hitting the weight room hard. We've been hitting their physical development hard, and we've started to get a lot of questions on, hey, how are we going to adjust stuff moving forward? So this podcast, I wanted to kind of discuss some in-season strategies, and as well as honestly just kind of some mindset shifts here. So really, who I want to talk to in this podcast is if you are a high school or college athlete, or if you're a parent of a high school or college athlete. That's really who I'm talking to here. So for the high school, college athletes, those types of people, in-season training is super important. I know we say it all the time. We send emails out weekly. When I was growing up, people would always talk about in-season, you need to stop the weight room because in season you don't train, right? And unfortunately, that's still a little bit of a thought process with a lot of our parents and a lot of our athletes. And really, the point of this episode is I really just kind of want to put some things into perspective for you guys. So we talk about long-term athletic development. So we take our 11-year-olds when they join our middle school group, we train them up, we get them moving good, we get them being fast, reactive, strong. They're able to decelerate well. They know motor control, body angles. They're able to take care of their body and control their body a lot better by the time they get to high school. And then, of course, in high school, we are now starting to add some strength to that movement, right? Our middle school programs is all about learning proper movement. Our high school programs is now about adding load to that movement as long as the movement continues to improve or at least maintain, right? So that obviously, again, is not how long-term athletic development works. So if we stop in the middle of season, stop strength training in the middle of season, well, we're now losing 8 to 12 to 16 weeks sometimes of development over the long term. Let's say that you do that 3 months a year, between 8th and 12th grade. That's 5 years times 3 months. That's 15 months of training that we are giving up. Think about how much progress you can make in an additional 15 months over the long period. The next thing I want to talk about is obviously our college athletes and our professional athletes. They are training all throughout the season. If you think about a professional athlete, particularly like in a minor league or a major league baseball player, their season is lasting 9 months, right? So if you think that they stop strength training in season, that means they're not training for 9 months of the year, which would mean their body's going to deteriorate. On top of that, travel schedules are tough, nutrition, and then obviously the demands of the game, demands of the season is going to start to break your body down. Well, we have to continue to strength train, performance training year round, especially in season, because that is where we're going to make the most progress as well as keep as much injury away as possible. We're trying to reduce the risk of injury. And if you just completely stop strength training or performance training in season, we're going backwards. So thinking long term, think that you're a junior in high school and you're committed to play baseball at Mississippi State. You bet your bottom dollar that baseball players at Mississippi State from February through June are strength training at least twice a week, sometimes 3 to 4, depending on the type of athlete they are. So these athletes are training nonstop. So if you're a high school junior, you're a high school sophomore, and you're wanting to play a sport at the next level, those guys and girls are already doing that in-season training, right? So we can't just stop in season because it's something that we've always done. You have got to look at the long term and understand long term, how am I going to put myself in a position to maximize my athletic potential? Again, if we take 3 months off per year, you're losing a quarter of the year every single year of development just by taking off in season. So I want to dive into a couple of tactics on how we adjust that in season training. So the first thing is the duration of the sessions. So right now I'm down here in Ocean Springs. We have a lot of our high school baseball players that are training with us. They're practicing 6 days a week right now. They start season in 2 weeks. They're practicing 6 days a week, 5, 6 days a week, and they're not getting done until 7 o'clock. Right? Like they're there a long time. They're on their feet a lot. They're moving a lot. They're going to be tired. It would be super easy to say, no, we're in season. I want to stop training. Right. But they're not doing that because obviously we've been able to explain to them how are we going to adjust this stuff. So when they get off of practice at 7 o'clock, they come straight over here. We have them an in season program written. Right? So what in season program is instead of it being 60, 75, sometimes even 90 minutes of work, when we're in like mid to late November, right? Because that's the off season. We're not playing at that point. We can spend a little bit more time in the weight room. Now we know that we're spending a lot more time on the field. So we're going to tailor back the time of the session. We're going to only hit the meat and potatoes. We're going to get straight to it. So they're coming in. Sometimes they're getting in and out of here in 40 minutes. We're hitting our mobility for the day. We're hitting our soft tissue for the day. We're hitting our power work for the day. And then we might only hit 2 to 3 strength training exercises for 2 to 3 sets. And they do that twice a week. Not only are they maintaining, but this past week was their third week of us adjusting the time frame of their sessions. And we had 4 athletes in one training session that PR'd on their vertical jump or their sprint time because we are taking care of their body and we are adjusting their program as we go. So to kind of put that back in a nutshell, you can continue to get better in season and preseason and even postseason by continuing to train and just making the duration of the sessions a little bit shorter between that 40 to 50 minute training session time, right? So that's the first thing is just make the session shorter, right? Get straight to the point, hit the things that matter. The next thing is what things do matter, right? I want to hit the things that we actually do hit and what we do focus on when they do come in here. Detraining. What that means is if you stop training some sort of quality, at some point your body will begin to lose it. So if we're looking at max speed, or if we're looking at power output, or if we're looking at strength in general. So let's actually go in that order. So max speed. So when I say max speed, this could be sprinting speed. This could be rotational velocity speed. This could be, an overhead med ball throw velocity, just something that's max speed. Usually we're coming down to working on sprint times. If we completely stopped doing max speed work, that quality of speed would start to diminish every 5 to 7 days that we don't do it. So if we're only doing that twice a month, that quality is detraining. We are getting slower because we're not training it often enough. Again, 5 to 7 days. So what that means is if you come in here and you hit 2 training sessions at base during the end season, one of those days, if we hit max speed for just a couple of reps, it's not like we have to run 10 sprints at max speed. We could run 2 to 4 sprints at max speed, just enough to hit it and maintain it for the next 5 to 7 days. And again, that's the point of in-season training. You come, you do minimum effective dose, which again means we're trying to do the minimum amount of reps that it takes to get the adaptation that we want. So an example that we use all the time is if you have a headache, are you going to use the entire bottle of Tylenol? Or are you going to just take, 1 or 2 tablets, right? We're just going to take the 1 or 2 tablets because that gets the job done. That's what strength training is. And that's what performance training is. We're going to do just enough to get the job done. That way we can continue to improve throughout the year. So max speed will start to detrain every 5 to 7 days. Power output could be anywhere between 1 to 2 weeks. If we're talking about rotational power, if we're talking about a lower body vertical, if we're talking about horizontal, it could be any type of power. But that quality is going to start to detrain every 1 to 2 weeks that we don't do it. So again, 7 to 10 to 14 days. And if we can come in and hit that power once a week, we can at least kick the ball forward and maintain our power. But if we are able to squeak in 2 quick training sessions, 2 35, 40-minute training sessions a week, we're at least maintaining throughout the year. And that's when it matters most, is when we get later in the season. We want to make sure that we have those qualities later in the season. That way we can continue to perform well on the field or on the court. And then just strength in general. So if we're just talking about like max strength, we could be talking about a split squat. We could be talking about a dumbbell bench press. We could be talking about even a deadlift variation, max strength. So that quality actually is going to be a little bit longer. We could hit that, pretty much every 30 days. We could hit like 1 quality strength session per month and continue to maintain the strength levels. Again, that is minimum. So if we can hit it once every other week, or even just like once a week, it doesn't have to be twice a week. It doesn't have to be 3, 4 times a week to hit this. We could hit it weeks 1 and 3 of the month and continue to move that strength forward throughout the year. So through March, April, May, right, all the way through the season. If we just hit one quality strength day per month, we're at least maintaining that strength. It's just coming back to understanding how long these qualities take to begin to detrain. And max speed is what we're going to lose first at that 5 to 7 day mark. The power is what we're going to start to lose second at that 1 to 2 week mark. And then max strength is what we're going to start to lose at that about 30-day mark. It doesn't take a lot to continue to maintain this stuff in season. And I think that's really the point I want to make sure we get across, is that the sessions can be shorter in duration. We can go 30 to 45 to sometimes 50-minute sessions in season. We can come in and just hit what matters. We can hit the mobility, the speed, the power, and then once every other week, we hit kind of like a heavier strength day and we move on. We go play well. We're not fatigued on the field or on the court because we didn't get killed in the weight room. We're just hitting just enough to move those qualities forward. And I think that's super important to understand. And that's how these high-level college athletes and these high-level professional athletes continue to maintain and improve their performance throughout the long season, is because they understand what it takes. I hit a performance training day twice a week. Worst case scenario, I hit it once a week. If we hit it once a week, you're still going to be able to maintain those qualities. That's going to help you move forward. Last thing I want to leave you with here is mainly just kind of more of a mindset shift here. Think about it, consistency. Just the easiest possible way to think about this is just don't miss. Just don't miss 1 week. If you can just hit one session per week, per month, that's just 4 sessions a month. That's the minimum. And you can continue to maintain as much as possible by doing that. But if you start to miss a week, then again, as we discussed earlier, we're going to start to diminish that speed. We're going to start to diminish that power if we miss 10 days. But if you can just hit once every 6, 7 days, just come in, sign up for a session, show up, we'll take you through the rest. We can at least keep those qualities that we built throughout the off season. If you don't, again, we're going to start to lose those. All of that time that we spend in the off season building all of this strength, power, speed, mobility, we are going to begin to lose because of detraining effects. So we want to just make sure we hit it. Just don't miss a week. Just come in once, hit a 30-minute session, and let's move it on. Last thing here is, again, kind of more for our parents here. If you have an 11-year-old and they train twice a week throughout their entire high school career, if they train twice a week for a year, that's 104 training sessions a year, right? 52 weeks in a year, twice a week is 104 training sessions. If you do that by 8 years, we're looking at 700-800 training sessions between 11 and 18 years old by the time they go to college. Think about the difference between an 11-year-old that begins going twice a week and just never misses going twice a week throughout their entire high school career versus someone who's a little bit more sporadic and goes 4 times a week in the off seasons and then doesn't train in season. The person that's going to be consistent like that, hit twice a week forever, is going to make way more long-term progress and also reduce a ton more injury just because they are taking care of themselves consistently throughout the year. So that's the message today. Make sure that you're training in season. Make sure that the duration's cut down a little bit. Make sure that you are focusing on what matters. If you don't know what matters, hit us up. We can help you with it. That's why we're here. That's why we do this. We're all former athletes that have been in your shoes that didn't have direction. We want to make sure that we're helping you with that direction. So if you like this one, let us know. Shoot us an email. Let us know what else you'd like to hear about. Until I talk to you in the next one, have a great day.